webinar topic is optimizing your site for conversions. One of the most common questions we get at ShoppingFeeder is, how do I get more sales? How do I increase revenue? How do I increase my conversion? How do I make sure that what I'm doing is towards increasing conversions? So that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about on this webinar. But before we start, just a little bit about ShoppingFeeder, who we are, what we do. My name is Kevin Tucker. It's good to see you, everybody. Nice to have everybody chatting to us recently about this webinar series. So ShoppingFeeder is a platform that helps online retailers grow their business. What we do is we help you manage and distribute your product data feed so that you can bring more people to your website in an optimal way to generate more revenue. We offer a multi-channel solution that allows you to distribute your product data to multiple marketing channels, all from a single interface. Those channels can be channels like Google Shopping, Facebook ads, price check, and we're in the process of building integration with several marketplaces around the world. And together with this, we also have an agency. ShoppingFeeder agency helps you manage your Google ad campaigns, your Facebook ad campaigns, your Bing ad campaigns, and your price check ad campaigns. Now, through the development of ShoppingFeeder as a software as a service platform and our agency, we've basically collated all of the types of questions and advice that people ask us for. And like I said in the beginning of the webinar, one of the most common ones is, how do I increase sales on my retail store? How do I get more visitors? How do I get more sales? How do I improve the performance of my website? So that's what we're going to be looking at a little bit in this episode. So I've got a little presentation which I'm going to share with you on the screen. But before I do that, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you look on the right-hand side, you'll see opportunity to ask some questions. Those questions will pop up for me, and I'll evaluate whether there is an opportunity to answer those questions in this session if we have enough time, if it's on topic. Otherwise, we can possibly save those questions for another webinar session. So let me go ahead and share the screen. So this is my presentation. Google has awarded us the Premier Partner Badge, and we're very proud of that. We have very knowledgeable agents who work with Google Ads substantially every day of the week. And they're extremely knowledgeable in growing your online retail business. And we'd be happy to chat to you should you need any help in doing that. It's a fully managed solution. We will take your ad campaigns from a strategy session, understanding your business, what your business goals are, to planning campaigns, budgeting, and then strategizing the way forward to grow your business. So this topic today is about optimizing for performance. There's a few high-level topics when you want to talk about performance. And, you know, when we talk about performance, it's really about financial performance, technological performance, and indeed, you know, meeting your business goals. So a lot of those aspects when you're in online retail revolve around SEO, search engine optimization, speed and performance, ease of use, and together with that, the UI, UX, the user interface and user experience, trust, payment, after-sale service, and upsell, cross-sell opportunities. So these are some of the things we're going to be talking about. Let's move on. So let's talk a little bit about SEO. Now, SEO itself is a massively complex topic, and it is not something that I'm going to go into a lot of detail with in this session. However, I'm going to do a little bit of high-level discussion about SEO. So, first of all, the most important thing about SEO is how to build a platform and content around the concept of what buyers want. So basically, put yourself in the buyer's shoes, sit down, take a little time, think about it, and say, if I was shopping for something, what would I want? What would I search for? What kind of content would I want to read? And through this process, you'll be able to develop a platform and content which will help you answer the questions people ask, and that will inherently become a solid SEO strategy. SEO is all about putting together the framework and the content to be able to answer people's questions when they ask them in a search engine. So understand what people want. It could be something like, you know, if I'm selling fashion, if I sell dresses, do I offer the dress styles that people are looking for? If I do offer the dress styles, am I communicating that effectively on my store? Do I have the right product titles? Do I have the right descriptions? Do I have images? Do I have images from various angles? Do I have professional looking images? Do I, you know, if I'm selling consumer electronics, do I have model numbers? On my retail store, do I have barcodes? Is it easy for consumers to compare the products that I sell against products that some of my competitors sell? So these are very important fundamental aspects to SEO, because if you get these right, you'll inherently be answering the questions that people ask. So for example, if someone is looking for a particular Samsung LED TV, make sure that you've got the brand name, the model number, and any kind of particular dimensions or screen size that is relevant in your product title. So for example, in Samsung SDX 3000 55-inch LED TV, that's a great way to name a product, because that'll answer a bunch of questions that someone is looking for. So if someone just types in Samsung 55-inch TV, that product title answers that question. If they type in SDX 3000, that answers that question. If they type in Samsung LED TV, that answers that question. So already you've covered a combination of 3 or 4 questions that a user might ask when they're searching in a search engine like Google. So page titles, product titles, headings, descriptions, images, model numbers. It's very hard for me to tell you how many times we've come across retailers who have product descriptions on their page that are literally one word, one line, just a barcode or just a model number, and they lack substantial detail. Now that has all sorts of negative connotations for a user. It means that you don't understand your product. It means that they're not sure if they can trust that that product is exactly what they're looking for, and it's very hard for them to make a buying decision. So it's important that when you have product information on your website, it is complete, it is holistic, and it covers all the salient points that would be important for a user when they're doing a search and when they're making buying decisions. So alongside that, there are very defined, very well-defined guidelines around SEO and what you can do to improve your SEO performance. So Google has incredible documentation around SEO, and it's very important to follow those guidelines. And what's even more important is don't go beyond those guidelines. Don't cheat. If you cheat, Google will penalize you and your site will be removed from Google's listing. So do not try and do any black hat SEO, as they call it. Stick to the guidelines, do what is best practice, and you'll be fine. Another aspect to SEO is responding quickly. So Google regularly changes algorithms. It regularly gives you notifications of changes to your site and changes to the way it evaluates your site, and it's important at that time to be able to respond to those changes and make sure that you are addressing all the requirements that Google has given you. So there's a link at the bottom of the slide to Google Search Console. If you have an online store or any kind of website, you should have that registered with Google Search Console, and you should have Google give you recommendations in Search Console about potential issues, potential changes, improvements, optimizations that should be done. So respond quickly to those. If Google tells you there were 500 errors on your site that couldn't be reached, fix those. If it tells you that there were 404, the page couldn't be found, fix it. If it tells you about duplicate content, fix it. So there's a lot of things that Google will give you information about that you should take note of. There's another link to a site called SiteLiner, which is a great tool for evaluating whether your site contains duplicate content. Google hates duplicate content. Make sure you have unique content everywhere. Moz is a great tool for SEO. It's been around forever. There's some newer tools, but Moz has kind of stood the test of time. There's a little link there to free SEO tools. And there's a little case study which I quite enjoyed about Canva. And Canva is a creative platform, and there's some really good examples of how Canva used SEO to substantially grow its business. Fascinating read. Take the time and go read that. So that's a little bit about SEO. Again, the message to reiterate is just make sure you've got your fundamentals right, and then you should be fine. There are, more advanced SEO topics that can be covered in another session. So let's talk about speed and performance now. So when it comes to speed and performance, 3 seconds is the magic number. If your site loads slower than 3 seconds, Google will penalize you. So by penalizing, I don't mean they'll remove you from the search results, that you won't be promoted and you won't have the benefit of a fast site in Google's rankings. Now, through the Search Console, you'll be able to understand how Google evaluates the speed of your site. So be sure to look at Search Console so that you can see how Google regards the speed of your site and make sure that you're adhering to any recommendations that it gives. That is very important. Okay, with that, you will find that mobile is now a very important aspect of optimizing your online store. So a lot of shoppers these days browse on mobile, add to cart on mobile, and often they check out on mobile. It's still not the most used method of checkout. The majority of people still prefer to check out on a full-size desktop computer, but mobile is an extremely important tool. It's a tool for building audiences, for attracting users, and making sure that you have the optimal site performance on mobile is very important. Now, to achieve a lot of this, you can use something called the CDN, the Content Delivery Network. Now, I've got a link to Cloudflare at the bottom of the slide. Cloudflare is an unbelievable tool. It has a free service that lets you build a CDN and instantly improve the performance of your site. We launched the CDN on PriceCheck. PriceCheck is South Africa's largest price comparison service. We have around 2 million users a month use PriceCheck, and so that's a lot of traffic, and it requires optimal kind of performance. We use Cloudflare CDN and we reduced the load time of our site by half. So every page loaded twice as fast after we started using a CDN. It's very simple to set up Cloudflare. There's some technical aspects to it. So if you have a developer or someone who manages your platform, just get them to set up Cloudflare for you, and you'll see instant performance in no time. The key driver of the performance improvement with a CDN is that it basically hosts your content, so your images, your style sheet, some JavaScript files, all of those things, closer to the users that use your site. So let's say your site is in South Africa and it's hosted in Germany. What they'll do is host your content, your multimedia content, your style sheet, your images in South Africa. And that means they will render much quicker to users. Google also has a great tool for testing the speed and performance of your site, and it actually forms the backbone of how they rank your site according to speed. So it's called Page Speed Insight. I'm going to show you a little example of how to use Page Speed Insight so that you can get an idea of what it does. Just share a different tab. So this tab over here is actually a test I've run on Price Check. Now, as you can see, Price Check has a lot of work to do. We're very busy trying to improve the performance of our site. It's a lot of complex code, but we don't rank very well on mobile, and we rank a little bit better on desktop for our homepage. Now, there are some other pages, like our daily deals page. This is Price Check's daily deals page. I'm just going to copy and paste the URL in there, and you'll see our score will improve. So this tool allows you to compare any page or to test any page on your site and get an idea of how it performs. So this is our daily deals, and you put in the URL, you click Analyze, and what it does in the background is it basically crawls your site as if it was a user, and it comes back with an evaluation. Now you'll see when this evaluation loads that mobile is the first ranking that it gives you. Now this is a score of 46, a score of 46 out of 100, which is not great, but it's an improvement of what we had before. And desktop is a score of 79 out of 100, which is actually pretty good. It has metrics down here about how your page loads, time to interactive. It tells you, it gives you little descriptions about all of these. If you click this little button here, you get a good description out of all of these metrics. And this is a very important tool for you to use. So there's a lot of technical details in here, and you will need someone with technical skills to evaluate your site to be able to really take heed of some of these solutions that Google has given you. One of my favorite results, I'm just going to show you this one, is an online store in South Africa called Zando. Zando is part of Jumia, which was originally part of Rocket Internet. Now, if we look at that one, let me just check if I've got the right screen over here. So, sorry, I've shared the Price Check screen again. Let me just change that to the Zando one. Just going to switch that over. Okay. Now what you'll see here is Zando on mobile ranks 83. On desktop, 100. This is the first time I've ever seen a score of 100. And it's incredibly performant. So it says that it's 0.5 seconds to interactive. Maximum potential first input delay is 40 milliseconds. So you're going to see content on zando.co.za as soon as you click go in the address bar. So that is quite fascinating. It's really impressive. I'll show you a little example of how fast this site loads. If I just go to the home page, sorry, let me just refresh this page. I'll give you an example of how quick it loads. Done. Incredible. That really is incredible. And they've put a lot of work into optimizing their site, and they've really listened to the recommendations that Google gives them. So well done. So getting back to our slide deck, just got to find it. Got a few more resources here. There's a Think with Google link to test the site on mobile, and there's a link to Cloudflare, as I mentioned. So Google has some fascinating stats. There's an article there about how an improvement in site speed improves your performance. So that you literally will make more money. Every second you increase in performance will generate you more revenue. It's a proven fact. Google has studied goodness knows how many sites, and it has proven that an improvement in performance will result in improvements in conversions and revenue. Now, we're going to talk about ease of use and UI UX. Now, this is a fascinating one. Again, we get a lot of questions related to this. And one of the interesting things is this is quite subjective sometimes, but there are some studies and there's some personal kind of traits around what people think is important. So I'm just going to go through a few things here. One of our attendees on the webinar has asked us a couple of questions. So I'm just going to put some of that information up. I just have a question come into our webinar. I'll answer that in a few seconds. Actually, let me do that now quickly. So the question is there are Cloudflare options that are free. Is it worth using the paid extras? So I would say yes. Cloudflare's free option is actually perfect. For most online retailers, Cloudflare's free option is perfect. However, if you are scaling to an extent where you know, you've actually exhausted the capabilities of the free option, then moving to the paid option is really important. So you can do all sorts of stuff with the paid options. You can automatically optimize your images on the fly to WebP, which is a new optimized format which renders much quicker than JPEG or PNG. That alone is worth paying for. There's rules that you can set for delivering content depending on the time of day, the geographic location that you have. You can use it for firewalls, VPNs, all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot to explore in Cloudflare. I'm not a Cloudflare expert, but I've been really impressed with the performance that we gained using Cloudflare. Hopefully that answers one of your questions. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about ease of use and UI UX. So we've taken a site of one of our interested attendees, and I've done a very short, very high-level analysis. Like I said, this first webinar is really just very high level, and after this, we'll continue on a series of more detailed topics. So some high-level things to remember about how to create an easy-to-use website and how to improve your UI UX. So first of all, keep things simple. Again, you'll see a lot of the topics that we talk about today are all tied together. So we spoke about SEO, keeping content clear, concise, and having all the correct information. And the same goes with how to build an easy-to-use website. Keep it simple. Make sure that the important aspects of it are very clear and very front and center. Eliminate doubt. Now, when it comes to online retail, doubt is a very powerful negative motivation for people. So there are many factors that contribute towards doubt. So one of the biggest ones is, will I get the product that I ordered? Can I trust this online retailer? If I pay by credit card, will it be safe? Am I getting a good deal? For a second, but those are all thought processes that users go. It's very important to understand those so that you can really address them in your platform. So how do you answer those? We'll give some examples of how you can answer them, but again, it's common sense. You know, you can answer them through the interface. You can give little banners that explain things. You can give little pop-ups and widgets. And then always be available in some form. So that could be a phone number, it could be a live chat, it could be a contact form, whatever it is. As you are scaling your website, in the beginning, it's very important to make yourself available because that's when you start building trust. Now, what you'll see on larger websites, they start hiding the contact details because they actually can't scale contact centers as their user base scales. So, but in the beginning, it's really, really, really important to be available to your customers. You don't need to be there 24/7, but it's just important to be there at least during business hours to make sure that if they have any questions, you can answer those and eliminate any doubts that they may have. And then, very importantly, obviously, You guys are retailers, so it's very important to know your products. Now, one of the interesting industries which has kind of ballooned recently is drop shipping. Now, drop shipping is a fascinating industry. It deserves a webinar on its own. But one of the issues with drop shipping from a consumer perspective is that the company, person, individual selling the product often knows nothing about it. And that introduces doubt. So we spoke earlier about having good product descriptions, specifications, titles, images, all that kind of stuff. Often with dropship products, a lot of that information is missing, and that introduces doubt. Also, long lead time introduces doubt. Will my product arrive? What countries is coming from, etc., etc. So it's very important to know a lot about your product, and sometimes it's worth stocking fewer products, but becoming very knowledgeable about them and becoming an expert and be able to answer any questions that shoppers might have. This is PayCheap's product landing page. They've got a great range of products. It's really impressive. What they've done is taken all the products that they think are useful to people, and they've got quite a unique range of products, which I really love. I'll actually tell you on the webinar. I'm just going to chat a bit about some improvements that I think we can make. Again, like UI and UX is a passion of mine. I'm not a qualified expert, but in my experience over many years, I've seen a few things where I think potentially some improvements can help. So this is the product page. It's a 3D joystick for a PS3 controller. Sorry, it's a joystick cap. And what we see here is great information. What I love is all 4 of these points over here eliminate a lot of doubt. So I don't need to ask how long the warranty is. I don't need to ask when it will be dispatched. I don't need to ask what payment types are available. And I don't need to ask how much delivery costs. Or if I hover over these question marks, I get all of that information. What I find a little bit challenging here as a consumer is that my eye is focused on the product picture over here and this information, but initially I don't see any way for me to add to cart. Now, the add to cart functionality is over here, but it's a little bit far away. So on a big screen like I have, that was quite difficult to find. Also, there's a little bit of text floating over here indicating that there's an opportunity to see what is available in the stores, or see whether this product is available in the stores. Now, just with a little bit of tweaking here and there, we can make a few changes and significantly alter the user's view of this page. So all we've done is brought this box a little closer. So now I'm seeing within my frame of reference, I'm seeing the product picture, the information, and the add to cart button right here, which includes, very importantly, the price. So it's very important to have the price very closely associated with the information in the middle. In addition, what I did is I took that view availability in the stores and I brought it right underneath here, right underneath the in-stock little widget. So what that does is associate different types of availability. So the one is in stock, ready to ship. I might say here, in stock, ready to ship. And the other one is view availability in stores. Sorry, getting tongue-tied. So should I want to go in store, I now know what that availability is like. So a few little changes, and we've automatically enhanced the experience, compacted the display, and we've made it just a little bit easier for users to understand what's going on here. Now, if I go back a slide, this was the home page. Great home page, great. I love this little carousel here. There's a phone number, there's an email address. Again, all of this is designed to eliminate doubt. Is this real? Can I buy from these people? Yes, here's a phone number. It's a landline. This I love. We can see that by this number, it's a landline. It's not a cell phone number, which also adds to credibility. And it has an email address that you can contact at any time. Now, what I found when I was on the product page is once I was on this page, there was no way to contact. There is a little WhatsApp widget here, which I also kind of like. I've chopped that off in the screenshot, but there is a WhatsApp widget in the corner, and I like that. It's a good opportunity to contact. But I don't see any phone numbers or email addresses. So all I did in my little example I just popped them in the top here. So in the top right, I've repeated the phone number and the email address. A great opportunity to build trust. So very, very, very subtle tweak, but again, a very, very simple opportunity to build trust. So just some very high-level examples to show how to improve the user experience, how to add some key elements of trust. There's a lot more that can go into this, and again, we'll do a much deeper dive in another session on how to improve UI and UX. But you can see how easy it is to make just a few tweaks to improve that user experience and build trust. So now we're going to talk a little bit about trust as well. So trust, UI, UX, all of these things go hand in hand. Now, everything we've discussed today is kind of small little bits of the bigger part that make for a very optimal website. So in this little section, we'll just touch very high levels of trust, payments, and after-sales support. So important. Now, one of the reasons after-sales support is so important is very basically Google won't let you list on Google Ads unless you have some documentation about, for example, your returns policy, contact details, all of these things. So if you want to list on Google Ads, make sure you have those available, or else your products will get rejected. So as you've noticed in the previous slide, I spoke about contact details and live chat. Now, live chat is a great one. I love live chat. We use it a lot on ShoppingFeeder. We're actually evaluating different live chat providers at the moment. And it's a great way, again, in the beginning of your online retail journey to build your business, build trust, build rapport with your customers. But is it scalable as you get bigger and bigger? Possibly not. You would need a lot of support agents to answer. But through using bots and some go a long way to building trust with your customers. Then, allowing your customers to pay with the services they prefer. Now, this is a very important one for e-commerce. Often, e-commerce retailers choose a payment solution which makes them the most money, i.e., which has the lowest fee. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that is the payment solution that users want to pay with. So it's very important to make sure that you offer payment solutions that are basically wanted by the majority of your shoppers. And also understand your market. What type of market are you selling in? What geographic location are you selling in? What are the best payment options in that region? Make it apparent that the site is secure. So make sure that you use SSL, make sure that that is indicated. Now this is something that we've been talking about for the last 10 or 15 years. and luckily with a platform like Shopify, SSL is mandatory, so that's not something that is an issue. But on other self-hosted platforms, Woocommerce, Prestashop, OpenCart, Magento, it's really important that you run on HTTPS, which is secure, and that you have an SSL certificate. And then after sales support, I mentioned it's very important that you have your cancellation policy and your refund and returns policy listed prominently on your website. Now, this is a tough one for merchants to stomach, because often they think if they promote their cancellation and their refund and returns policy, people will cancel and send their products back for a refund. Now, that may be the case, but it's not necessarily going to happen. All it means is that you're eliminating doubt, you're building trust, and you are building a growing consumer business. Without those, you can't be in retail. So if you look at traditional retailers, their refund and returns policy and their cancellation policy was not necessarily a cancellation because they're selling direct, but their refund and returns policy is clearly printed on every till slip or cash receipt. So this is a very important aspect of retail, and just because you sell online doesn't mean that you should shy away from it. So make sure that you have a very clear refund and returns policy, and that it is communicated at checkout, on your footer, even on your header, should you wish. And in certain categories, this is more and more important. So for example, fashion has generally quite a high return rate because people buy products, try them on, send them back, exchange them. And it's very important that these policies are clearly communicated. We're going to look here at ASOS. ASOS is a darling of UK retail. And there's some very interesting elements here that build trust, eliminate doubt, and convey some important messaging. So at the top here, with my little blue scribble, you've got to add the product, the price, and then right underneath that, delivery and returns info. They're not shying away from it. They're saying upfront, you can trust us. Here's the information. This is how we'll deliver, and this is what you need to do if you want to return it. Here in this green block, during the coronavirus, there obviously should be some problems and some delays. So very clear indication that they've made some changes. And what they've done is one step further. They're saying, right, you can buy this product and 90 days later, you can return it for a full refund. Then this element over here is part of the UI UX strategy as well, and it's a great doubt eliminator. What they do is give you very clear information about how to fit your clothes and sizing guides. Now for fashion, this is incredibly important and another very big challenge for dropshippers. Having clear sizing information eliminates a substantial amount of doubt for shoppers in the fashion vertical. Make sure that you do have sizing information. If you're selling clothing, if you're selling shoes, footwear, jewelry, whatever it is, please make sure that you have sizing information to eliminate doubt. Now, at the checkout, what I wanted to show you on this page was that, number one, they offer many different types of registration, but at the bottom, right here up front, they're indicating what payment types they accept. Now, this is in the UK, where almost everyone has a credit or a debit card, and so they offer all the credit and debit card options and PayPal. So it's very important upfront to advertise the payment types that you support, and also offer many different types of login. Now, I wanted to share with you a great usability feature on Zando. Now, if you look at this, this is a Nike polo top, and what I'm going to do is, I love this, I love the price, I'm going to add it to my cart. Oops, I didn't choose a size. Now, what most online stores would do is just block you from choosing this add to cart button, but that's not what we want. We're optimizing for conversions. We want people to convert. We don't want to make it difficult. So what do? They just give you a little pop-up and they remind you that you have to choose a size, right? Or a variation, they call it. Then if I try add to cart again, then it tells me I must choose a size. But at least they haven't just blocked the add to cart button. I think that's really important. So I choose a size, I click add to cart, and it's extremely efficient. Now I get two options, continue shopping or view cart and checkout. Now this is kind of standard practice on most retail sites. So what I really love is this little intervention that just says choose a size. But the button is always enabled. This is always enabled. Very important. Okay, so lastly, the last tip I'd like to give, I'm still within time, is make sure that you offer upsell and cross-sell opportunities. Now, sometimes this is a little technically hard. It's not impossible, but it's a little technically challenging. Upsell and cross-sell opportunities are the fundamental aspect to growing your basket size. So how do you do that? If someone's buying, let's look at some electronics. If someone's buying an SD card reader, upsell an SD card. It's highly likely that they have an old SD card and now they need a reader to plug it into their computer and download their photos. Maybe they don't know how to do it. Sell them a card as well. Great opportunity for upsell. You know, if they're buying a pair of shoes, sell them a pair of socks. You automatically know it's a men's size 11. Sell them a pair of men's socks, right? Those are upsell opportunities. Cross-sell opportunities are very similar, but often they could be completely unrelated. So, you know, so-and-so bought this, and they bought that, and they bought that. Are you interested in doing the same? Product recommendations. Now, product recommendations in the modern world of AI and machine learning are really important. They're not difficult to implement. Takes a little bit of technological integration, but they're really, really, really important, because what they do is they eliminate doubt. So some of the doubts I have is, is the product I'm looking at the perfect fit for me? Is it the perfect price? Maybe it's not. Oh, hold on, here's some recommendations for me. Let me look at some other products. And what happened on Price Check was we implemented a recommendation engine. 4 years ago, we implemented a recommendation engine, and we dropped our bounce rate by half. So we had a bounce rate of whatever, let's say 50%. After we implemented the recommendation engine, we dropped our bounce rate to 25%. A really amazing result. Simple implementation goes a long way to building confidence, eliminating doubt, and helping your customers make an informed buying decision. So for this first webinar session, that's about it. Thank you very much for joining me. If you'd like to contact us at ShoppingFeeder, just go to shoppingfeeder.com, go to the Contact Us page, drop us a message, or you can contact us anytime by email at support@shoppingfeeder.com. You can use our live chat. We're always there when you need us. We operate in multiple time zones, so whenever you need a little bit of help, be sure to contact us. And again, just to reiterate, if you have any issues with managing your Google Ad account, managing your Facebook account, managing your price check account, or your Bing shopping account, please get in touch with us. We can give you a full strategy on your Google Ad campaigns, social media campaigns, email campaigns, whatever it may be. Our agents in our extremely good agency will be able to definitely help you.